Hi everyone, this is a very brief overview of a 1-hour class on setting expectations and holding accountability. We began with looking at how you would describe a person who is accountable. And the class came up with a list: reliable, honest, takes responsibility, owns their work, owns their mistakes, they're respectful, hardworking, good communicator, they follow through, they're trustworthy, and they are a person of their word. So then we transitioned, left that up on the board, and we transitioned to a conversation about what we need to do before we hold other people accountable. Before you hold people accountable, you must do two things. Be accountable yourself. So we kind of pushed back from the table and in triads examined where each of us might have room for improvement when it comes to our own accountability. And even if we're a 10 in all these things, then what does an 11 look like? Because there's always room for improvement when it comes to these type of descriptions. So that's one thing we have to do. And the second thing you'll need to do before you hold other people accountable is set clear expectations. We played the tapping game to get at how difficult it is sometimes to communicate our expectations with other people. We had one person tap out simple songs like Happy Birthday or Twinkle Twinkle and see if the rest of the group could guess what the song was. And it's really amazing how hard that is to do. And for the one who's tapping, it seems so obvious what the song is. The problem when setting expectations, it's kind of like the tapping game. Only you really know what you mean. Others cannot hear the song playing in your head. So we discussed the dynamics of setting expectations and how important it is to have it be a two-way dialogue, not just I tell you what to do and you say and then go do it, but that I really take responsibility for making sure that you understand what it is, that we have the same understanding of the expectations. And then we looked at holding accountability. It's important to follow up whenever you set expectations. Not just critical, but this is an awesome time to say, hey, good job. If you set expectations, then just never say anything if it goes right. Well, that's unfortunate. And then be consistent in how you hold your team members accountable. Fairness is so critical to morale. And even when somebody feels they're not being treated fairly, if you can explain your rationale for that, sometimes that can settle people down a little bit. But when people feel like they've been treated unfairly, there's a loss of productivity that comes with their own attitude and slowing down, but also the time wasted discussing with other team members and comparing notes and complaining. And then we spent most of the rest of the class on this. Expectations are not negotiable. When people fall short, don't get angry. Deliver the consequence they earned. When we don't deliver the consequence, when we try to be the nice manager and just keep warning them and keep warning them, the only one who gets really upset over time is you. And then a nice manager can be too nice for too long and get poor results, and then get angry and blow up and pop off. Then there's definitely a lack of productivity when that happens. So rather than being, quote, nice from the beginning, do the really nice thing and have people know that you are consistent, that if you say there's a consequence, there's a consequence. If there's poor attendance, warnings are written up, you follow through with HR, they'll know that you're not kidding. And the great thing about that is, you know who really loves it is all your really solid performers. Because morale takes a hit when somebody can get away with a lot. People think, well, heck, why am I going to try that hard? Why am I going to hustle? Look, she falls short and then nothing happens. Nothing happens except you get angry. And that's not a consequence. So if you're, and also we did talk about how if you're going to change the system and all of a sudden start holding people accountable where you haven't before, it's good to warn them ahead of time. Warn everybody at the same time. I'm sorry, I have not done a good job of holding people accountable, And that's going to change. So when it comes to whatever it is, attendance or productivity or attitude, whatever you're trying to hold better accountability around, let them know one time before you all of a sudden lower the boom, so that you don't make somebody an example necessarily, but they might make themselves an example. But you've at least approached it fairly. And then hold people accountable in writing whenever possible, especially when they're new or taking on something new. And this goes for setting expectations and holding accountability. As much as you can do that in writing, it's helpful. If people are new, ask them to please come with paper and pen and take notes on what the expectations are. And then you follow through with written accountability. And if someone consistently fails, fire them. Don't make poor performers somebody else's problem to deal with. Don't just get mad and think that that's somehow addressing the issue. If people consistently fall short, despite warnings and the whole process, do everybody a favor and fire them. Again, it's your really strong performers who are going to appreciate that you are consistent and trustworthy when it comes to accountability. And that's the end of the class.